Thank you. Next, I would like to talk to you about an issue I discussed last year. When this committee discussed your department's FY 2022 budget request, I made clear how concerned I was that the department decided to forego 40 years of bipartisan precedent and remove the Hyde Amendment from your budget request. You responded to me that ultimately it's Congress's decision what will be included in the final bill when it comes to the issues of the Hyde Amendment. My Republican colleagues and I made it clear that any appropriations legislation that does not include Hyde Amendment protections will not gain our support. And the Hyde Amendment has been renewed every year on a bipartisan basis. Just last month, on March 9th, it passed the House of Representatives again with a Democratic majority and was signed into law by President Biden in the appropriations omnibus for the fiscal year 2022. That is why when the president's budget request for fiscal year 2023 was released last week, I was disappointed to see that the Hyde Amendment and several other longstanding pro-life provisions were again weakened or removed. Since 1976, the Hyde Amendment has saved over 2.4 million lives. This policy also reflects the views of nearly 60% of Americans who agree that taxpayer dollars should not be used to fund abortions. My question to you is, as the majority of the American people continue to oppose their tax dollars funding abortion procedures, and Congress has made clear that the Hyde Amendment protections are remaining intact, why does the administration continue to try and repeal this 40-year-old bipartisan provision and force Americans' tax dollars to fund abortions?
Congresswoman, thank you for the question. Having served 24 years in this body, I can tell you I'm very familiar with this issue. At the end of the day, you all will decide what our budget looks like. This proposal put forward by the president is his effort to try to let you and the American public know where he'd like to go. I am a firm believer that a woman is the best judge of how to provide for herself and her health care, and making that decision along with her physician, not with politicians. And so when it comes to the issues of abortion, I know that there are deeply held beliefs. We may not always agree, but what we should do is agree that everyone should have access to the health care services they need. And at the end of the day, you all will decide what the president's budget looks like.
Again, thank you for your time, Secretary. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.